Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to watch today's video. We are going to be talking about crankbaits and water temperature today. And what I want to do is I want to give you guys a foundational, sort of like a foundational little seminar on how to determine the best type of crankbait to fish based upon your water temperature. Because the two main factors in crankbait selection is your water temperature and your water clarity. So we're going to get into that today's video. I think it's going to add up to some good fish for you guys. I'm also just a quick reminder, I want to let everybody know that if you haven't had a chance, just please swing by and check out our Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns, guys. We got our winter maps up for sale right now. These are great resources to get you some good swim bait and jerk bait places for wintertime fishing on your favorite lakes. I build these specifically for Fish the Moment. So I'll put that lake map breakdown link in the description along with my other links. So I really appreciate you guys using those. Okay guys, let's sort of, this is going to be like a real broad sort of a foundational approach. There's a lot of nuances and subtleties that, you know, it would take hours to talk about in the video, but I sort of want to give you my basic approach, how I like to go about it based upon water temperatures. Now let's talk a little bit about, we'll start with colder water temperatures and then we'll go up to the warmer type temperatures. Now when you're dealing with colder water temperatures like water temperatures in the 40s, you know, let's divide them up in like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s on up. Water temperatures in the 40s, this is not going to be a really good time to fish crankbaits for the most part. And if you do catch bass when the water temperatures in the 40s, it's usually on the tail end of that when the water temperatures are more in the upper 40s. Now, once you get water temperatures in the upper 40s, that's when your flat side crankbaits are going to work a little bit better. Megabass Flap Slap here, or some homemade versions, whatever, but a flat-sided crankbait that has a narrow wobble in it is going to be really good when that water temperature is in the upper 40s, especially if you have water clarity sort of in that 2 to 4 foot zone is going to be really good. But that's my primary one. Now, once the water temperature gets up into the 50s, I consider this like prime crankbait water. That's probably my favorite crankbait temperature to fish for a variety of different crankbaits, because bass love crankbaits when the water temperature gets into the 50s. Their metabolisms pick up a little bit. They get into that depth zone where a lot of different type of crankbaits work. So when I'm fishing water temperatures in the 50s, I'm usually fishing some type of a medium diving crankbait, something that gets down sort of into that 4 to 6 foot range. Sorry if it's noisy out there, guys. There's my neighbor's blowing leaves off right now. But that 4 to 6 foot zone when that water temperatures in the 50s is going to be really good. So something like this Rapala DT6, a wigglewort, a rock crawler, just something along those lines, you know, to get into that zone where those fish are. And as that water temperature gets a little bit warmer, they like a crankbait that has a little bit wider wobble. And these lipped crankbaits like this, the medium divers, have a wider wobble than your tight, you know, more flat-sided crankbaits do. Now, when water temperatures get in the 60s, this is one time of the year, guys, you're going to find out that crankbaits don't seem to work as good. It seems like there is a dead zone a little bit when the water temperatures get in the 60s. I have a hard time catching them. I mean, you can catch a few fish on a square bill crankbait sometimes, but man, when that water temperature is in the 60s, and a lot of times, you know, that's in the springtime of the year or maybe in October or November in the fall time, that is the time of year that I really struggle with my crankbait fishing. So what I'm looking for in the next phase of that is when the water temperature starts to get into the 70s and the 80s. Now, once it's in the 70s and 80s, this can encompass a lot of different times of the year, anywhere between May on up until like October. And during that time frame, probably my favorite, guys, is a square bill crankbait. The square bill crankbait, when that water temperature is in the 70s and 80s, it's a really good choice for it because it hits that zone the fish are in, especially if you have that water visibility of anywhere between 1 to 3 feet. It works in a wide range of conditions. You can fish rocky banks with it. You can fish wood cover with it. It's really, really good. And there's something about the sort of the wobble and the profile of a square bill crankbait when that water temperature is in the 70s and 80s is really good. Another thing with that, as that water temperature gets higher, like up into the 80s, depending upon what part of the country you're in, you want to downsize your crankbait, your square bill. So the warmer the water is, the smaller you want to go for a crankbait in general, which is usually like, you know, July, August, early September. Another bait that works really good when that water temperature's in the 70s is a deep diving crankbait. Most of the time you start to hit 70s in the late post spawn into the early summer period. And for me, like the first to second part of June, when that water temperature's in the 70s, great time of year to fish a deep diving crankbait. I'll throw it out on like main lake points, that type of stuff. Really good way to catch them. But mainly you just have to let the profile of your crankbait and the wobble of your crankbait in relationship to the water temperature determine your selection, because bass, they get into certain moods and personalities. You hear me talking about that a lot on the channel, and those moods and personalities are greatly affected by the wobble of a crankbait and the profile of a crankbait. So that's just sort of my go-to formula there. Keep an open mind with it, try it, experiment a little bit, and eventually just the bass will tell you what they want from day to day. So hope it helps out. We'll talk later.